I am Zach the Ripper Comics, and on today's episode of Zach the Ripper Reviews, we're going to take a look at the October 6th WWE Monday Night Raw. Pre-tape where he's sitting inside the Legends Lounge, the very Legends Lounge that Ric Flair, Christian, The Big Show, and Shawn Michaels were in last week when Orton used his virtual reality to overcome the odds and beat up all four individuals before turning the lights on and revealing himself. Now, I'm sure Randy Orton's no stranger to revealing himself, and that's why he had to take the opportunity to do it twice. I found this promo to be a bit boring and the story a bit underwhelming. This is nothing compared to what Orton's done since January, and I think it's clear he knows that. The WWE Champion Drew McIntyre busts into the room. Him and Orton go blow for blow before Orton runs away. Drew makes it clear that no matter when, no matter where, if he's in the same building as Randy Orton, there will be hell to pay. A 6-woman tag team match up next as WWE Raw Women's Champion Asuka teams with the new combination of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. As I said last week, I liked the look of this team. I thought they gelled well together. They both have something to prove, and they had matching gear for the second week in a row. Huge props to that. And their opponents are Zelina Vega, along with Natalya and Lana, the combination we've seen over the past couple months. For the third week in a row, we see Lana absolutely punished by WWE for her association with Rusev, now known as Miro in AEW, and what she caused on social media just a few months ago. Just then, the women's tag team champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax return from their 2-week COVID-19 quarantine, and they're back to once again take Lana, destroy her, and put her through a table for the second time in less than a month. This week on Raw, they did what I suggested just a couple weeks ago regarding the 24/7 championship. Treat it like the old hardcore title, not in the sense of hardcore matches, but in the sense of spacing out the segments over the course of the night, especially when you have a 3-hour broadcast. So in this first portion, we had Drew Gulak sneaking up on R-Truth to win back, again, the WWE 24/7 Championship. As he backs up and runs away, he knocks a trash can over, revealing that Akira Tozawa, back fresh from the shark attack, was inside the trash can. He falls out. He and R-Truth chase Drew Gulak. The Messiah of Monday Night, Seth Rollins, along with his disciple, Buddy Murphy, can't say Buddy, Murphy, on the way to the ring. Murphy asks Seth to apologize not for what they've done to the Mysterios, but for what Seth specifically has done to Aaliyah. Seth absolutely says this will not happen no matter what. This leads into a matchup between Seth Rollins and Murphy against the teaming of the reason channel changers were invented himself, Humberto Carrillo, and his tag team partner Dominic Mysterio. Despite the hard-fought actions of Dominic Mysterio, Humberto Carrillo unfortunately succumbed to a huge super knee. Second match in a row where there was a knee to the face for the finish. Not a big fan of that, although it looked incredibly dangerous and was, without a doubt, fatality-worthy. WWE SmackDown superstar Braun Strowman shows up to Raw for Raw Underground, despite the fact that Adam Pearce, the acting official in WWE at the moment, told him that there was no Raw Underground that week. Now tell me, the viewer, why there's no Raw Underground. Is Shane McMahon not there? Is Shane sick? What's going on? Why can't they tell us why there's no Underground? The truth of the matter is, creative is wanting to once again revamp it and debut it at a later date. Why not explain something to us instead of the fact that it's just not there? I don't like that. We get Braun Strowman competing against Keith Lee, the limitless Keith Lee, everybody's favorite. And this was a hoss just match. They said it was an exhibition. It was a fight to obviously set up a pay-per-view match, which I'm actually okay with. I enjoy hoss fights, and I think this would be a good one. They both ran at each other. They went through the barriers at one point before ending up on stage, putting each other through the tech wall. And the only man that puts you to sleep with his OnlyFans and Only Eats account, Kevin Owens, up next with the KO show. KO's guest is Bray Wyatt, the Funhouse version of Bray Wyatt. Bray, as we know, does not come ringside. He shows up on the screen to let Kevin Owens know that he's awake in the Fiend, and he wants none of the Fiend. Kevin Owens, as I said last week, wants to eat everything and anything, so he challenges Bray Wyatt right then and there. This Friday on SmackDown, they will face each other on night 1 of the draft. However, on this night, Kevin Owens went to leave ringside and was viciously attacked by Aleister Black, laid him out, and then sat down on the ramp right next to him. Later in the night, Black would challenge Kevin Owens at some point in the future to a barbaric match, in Aleister Black's words. We then find ourselves back in another 24/7 championship segment as R-Truth wins back the 24/7 championship after all three men end up in a trash can. The referee counts three. We're not sure who it is that comes out, but alas, it's R-Truth, and the title is back with him for potentially the 46th or 47th time. One of the reasons to watch Monday Night Raw nowadays is for the Hurt Business, and up next, the Hurt Business defeated in tag team action the team of Ricochet and Apollo Crews when, for the 726th time in a row, Lashley submitted Apollo Crews with the Full Nelson, the Hurt Locker, as they're calling it now. First of all, great name. It ties in the naming of the group along with giving it a modern name. I do enjoy that. Kudos to them for that one. Ricochet and Apollo are just fodder at this point to something bigger. We find out later exactly what that bigger is in the form of Retribution. Before this match took place, we saw that MVP approached the team of Ricochet, Apollo Crews, and Mustafa Ali, giving them an open invitation to the Hurt Business, which all three turned down. The Messiah, Seth Rollins, makes his way to the ring, and he wants an apology now from Murphy for the way Murphy's been acting, for the harm that he's put the greater good in. Murphy says absolutely not, attacks Seth Rollins. These two men brawl over the arena before beating each other with kendo sticks. Aaliyah Mysterio makes her way ringside, putting her body over top of Murphy, begging Seth to stop. Everybody takes a knee at this. The entire Mysterio family then comes out. Ray's wife looking as bored as ever. Dominic trying his best to act, bless his heart. And Aaliyah trying to explain that nobody knows Murphy like she does. Nobody understands what he's been through. And there's clearly a connection, as we talked about 2 weeks ago on this very show, between Aaliyah and Murphy. This is actually still very interesting, and despite some of the bad acting, I'm actually excited to see where this goes. In a matchup that was scheduled to take place last week, a Clash of Champions, WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax steamrolled over the Riot Squad, and at the end of this match, Shayna Baszler had Ruby Riott locked into her finish for what felt like 2 minutes, injuring her. Post-match, Liv Morgan would give an interview where she was crying, not understanding what exactly happened, not understanding what's going on with her friend as far as if she's injured indefinitely or not, and it clearly showed a sign that perhaps there's either going to be more cracks within this newly formed duo, or they're going to turn the page and perhaps change the name and change the look. One-on-one matchup next between Mustafa Ali, the man that returned and disappeared, and MVP, the leader of the Hurt Business. Just 1 week ago when I talked about Mustafa Ali disappearing and reappearing and disappearing and reappearing, I said that most likely he was my pick. He was the one that was going to turn out to be the leader of Retribution, and unless something drastically changes over the course of the next few weeks, which it may, Mustafa Ali in this matchup was revealed to be the leader of Retribution, sicking the entire group onto the Hurt Business and leading them lay. Now, it was meant to be a big field moment, and I did not feel that. I've spoken to a few other people, some of them in the business, some of them out and just fans. They all said the same thing, that it did not feel like a big moment, especially with the fact that after for so many months ending Raw with Retribution, this was just the go-home segment to the main event 6-man tag team match, pitting the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre up with the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, against their opponents Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode. This was actually a really good match and a really fun match and a great way to go off the air, as it was high action, fast paced, all over the place. Everything made sense. There's a lot of professionals in there. Street Profits are newer guys, but they seem to really be getting it. Sometimes Montez Ford gets a little excited, a little ahead of himself. Dawkins seems to be the one that's a little more grounded, a little bit more solid in the ring. Montez Ford, you cannot deny the charisma that that man has, and the chances he takes are on display here in this match tonight. And for the first time since before WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre pinned by Randy Orton out of an RKO out of nowhere, giving Orton's team the win and the momentum heading into what is going to now be a Hell in a Cell match between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell. I went on a Microsoft Zoom call with the Dean himself, Dean Douglas, to talk about this show. Both of us had some contrasting points. However, we decided that this Monday Night Raw gets a C. Much better than the last 2 weeks that we saw. A little bit more formulaic like SmackDown has been, which is not a bad thing. I do wish that the shows felt more different than they do. However, I will take a show twice a week that's good rather than two that are not. I want to thank all of you for watching this video, supporting this channel, as Zack the Ripper Comics has just passed 400 subscribers as of filming this in just under 2 weeks. That is fantastic. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. My patrons on Patreon that are supporting me, everybody that's liking us on Facebook, finding us on Instagram, hitting up that eBay station for all your needs, and last but not least, liking this video and subscribing to the channel, because it goes a long, long way in the community that we're trying to build. Until next time.